Hi my loves, welcome to the channel. So today we have a video that I am very excited about, and this is my favorite books of all time, my 5-star reads, my god tier books, the ones that make me cry, make me laugh, just warm my heart, tear me apart, whole nine. This is them. And I have had other 5-star reads, and these are just the ones that have stuck with me over the years. The ones that when I think of my 5 stars, these are the ones that come to mind. Just the best of the best, you know? So I'm very excited to share all of these with you. I'm hoping that we can either gush about how much we mutually love these books in the comments, or you'll find a new favorite out of this list. Yeah, I figure let's just get right into it. We have 11 to talk about today, and I love all of these books very much. These are all books that just warm my heart so much to think about and talk about and read, and I can't wait to share them with you. So the first one that we are talking about is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. As you can see, I've tabbed this quite a bit. I loved this book a lot. This one follows Georgie and Travis, and this is the start of a 3-book series, I think. I've only read the first book, but it was really, really good. So this one follows Georgie and Travis, and Georgie is a part of a big family that is really well known in her small town. They've all accomplished really great things, and they all see her as less than because she is just a birthday clown. And she is really happy in her career. She's really fulfilled. She loves her job, but nobody takes her seriously, and nobody really wants to date her because they just see her as a clown. They don't see her as anything serious. So enter Travis. Travis is Georgie's brother's best friend, and they've known each other their whole lives. And Travis was a really famous baseball player. Sorry, the glare is driving me nuts with my glasses. He was a really famous baseball player, and he got injured, and so he can no longer play. And so he comes home, and then he gets offered a job as a sports announcer or caster or something, but they're hesitant to hire him because he has quite the reputation as a bit of a ladies' man, as somebody who really gets around, and they're wanting more of a family man, somebody who has settled. And so enter Georgie. She comes to him with this crazy scheme that they should fake date because she wants to be seen as more dateable to the rest of the town so that she can find love and have babies and do the whole nine and just find somebody. And he needs to be seen as more serious, so they fake date to accomplish both of those goals. And along the way, the lines start to blur, obviously, and this was really, really good. I had such a great time with this. In all honesty, it has been a very long time since I've read this, and I just have a little bit of a review in my reading journal. I was not as fleshed out back then. I read this in 2022, but I remember this being really fun and just really warm, and also something that just pulls you out of a slump. That's what I wrote. I was feeling a major reading slump coming on, picked this up, pulled me immediately out of it, and just got me to fall back in love with reading again. One thing as well is Tessa Bailey really knows how to write romance, and if you are really feeling a romance with a really, really lovable FMC who you just really want to root for and want to see succeed and just find everything she wants in life, this is really, really good. And it's just really nice to see these people who are both really misunderstood start to show everyone who they really are and also just find themselves along the way. And it was really, really good. And also, if you end up loving it, it's a 3-book series. So I would definitely recommend this one. It's one that even though I haven't read it in a few years, every time I see my book, I remember how much I just loved this book. Do I remember any details about it? Not really, but I remember loving it, and I feel a lot of warmth and love whenever I look at this one. The next one is a book that I think I've talked about quite a few times on this channel, and that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This one I tabbed so much. This one, I had a really good time with this, as you can probably tell. I was just kind of tabbing everything that made me happy, and so this just had a lot of it. I think I've read this 3 or 4 times, and every single time it's been 5 stars, and it's a book that over the years, as my reading tastes have changed, it's one that I've come back to over and over again and still really, really loved. So let's talk about it. This one follows Alex and Poppy, and Alex is very quiet, he's very reserved, and he meets Poppy, and she is bubbly and way more outgoing than he is, and they are just complete opposites. But they become friends, they go on a road trip, and then they decide after that, every year, let's go on a trip together, right? And so we see them over these 10 years going on trips, but then something happens and their friendship falls apart. And then we see Poppy a few years later, and she is really missing Alex, and she needs to go on a trip for work. And so she says to herself, you know what, let me bring Alex on this trip and see if I can fix our friendship. And it goes from there. This was my first experience with past chapters, and it was done so incredibly well. you see them at the beginning, and then you see them in the present, and then every other chapter, every couple chapters, you go back and see one of their other trips, and it is done so incredibly well. And my favorite thing with this is you could just really feel the love between Poppy and Alex. You could feel how much they loved each other platonically, but then you could also feel just how deep they cared for each other, and it was so obvious that these two were going to be together, and just that even if for some chance they weren't going to be romantic, they loved each other so much that they were just a constant in each other's lives, and it was just really beautiful, honestly. And also, these two just brought out such good parts of each other. They made each other the best and brightest and dorkiest versions of themselves, and they just bloomed with each other. And I think that's what a friends to lovers should be, is you should see the foundation, you should see the friendship, and then you should see it blossom into something so beautiful. And this did that so incredibly well. And I think even after all these years have passed, I think I read this for the first time in 2021. I read it twice in 2021. I think this is still the friends to lovers book that sticks with me the most. And it's one that I think I will read over and over and over again and love just as much, if not more, every single time. So if you want a friends to lovers book where you see their friendship develop over the years, and it's done so incredibly well, and also you just really fall in love with them, and you see them go on all these vacations, and you just see them develop together and grow, and it's just a fun ride. If you just want something like that where you can just follow along and watch them fall in love and just see them bloom together, it's really, really good. I would highly recommend it. The next one is Part of Your World by Abby Menace. This was an easy 5 stars for me. This one I just adored, and this was my favorite of the trilogy. It's a lot of people's least favorite, but this was my favorite. It goes Part of Your World, then Yours Truly, and then Just for the Summer. But Part of Your Worlds, it did something for me. It worked so well. And you know what, you should pick this up, because even if it's not your favorite, almost everybody else likes the other books better, so it can only realistically go up from here, except if you're in my case and it just kind of went down. But I loved this one the most, so I would recommend it. But if you don't like it for some reason, which I don't know why you wouldn't, then you have Yours Truly and Just for the Summer, which are more well-loved. But this one is incredible, and I loved it. So let's talk about it, right? This one follows Alexis and Daniel, and Alexis is a doctor. She has her life together. She knows what her plan is. She's had this plan her entire life. She's gonna follow in her family's footsteps. She's gonna take over the hospital. Everything is just coming up Alexis, right? But she's not really fulfilled. She's not really happy in her life. She's just kind of going with the flow of what's been expected of her all this time. And then she takes a little road trip to this small town, and she breaks down. I think she's driving through the town, and she breaks down on the side of the road. And Daniel is driving by. He fixes her car, and then for some reason she can't get back out of the town. She needs to stay there for a little bit, and she and Daniel decide to start a little fling. They hit it off really well, and she's like, you know what, look, I'm going back to my town. I'm not staying here, but I just feel this pull towards you. And Daniel is the exact opposite of Alexis. He has his life together, but she has her life together. Like, she is locked into what she's doing. And he is just someone that in no way would really fit into her life, but she has this fling with him, and then they see each other a little bit more, and she comes back to this town, and she spends a few days there, and she realizes that she's really falling in love with this town, and that there is something that is kind of inspiring her there, and that she could build something really wonderful here, and she needs to decide, am I going to stay in this town and take a risk and pursue something that has no stability whatsoever, that is just making me feel something? Or am I going to continue to follow along with the path that I've known my whole life? It's incredible. It's so good. I think my biggest reason for loving this book is I just loved the characters so much, and not even necessarily together, I did, but I loved them individually, and I loved the arcs that they went on. They both grew so much throughout the book, especially Alexis, and she really just found herself and realized what was important in her life and just discovered who she was and what was important to her, and they just bloomed together, you know? And I think that that's the best kind of romance, is when people just change or become the absolute best versions of themselves with their partner. This was done so well in this book, and also they were just really nice characters to follow. Like, Daniel was such a sweetheart, and he was pretty funny as well, and you just really rooted for Alexis. Like, she had her life together, she was in a good place, but you just wanted her to find everything she was looking for, and so this was just such a good book. I laughed, I cried, I kicked my feet, I was giggling, the whole nine, and so this one, I think, is a lot more about character growth than the other ones I've mentioned so far. And so if you were wanting something that not only follows a love story, but also follows two people just finding themselves and becoming the best versions of themselves, I would really recommend this one. I think if you want to follow a really phenomenal character arc, I think Alexis is a really good character in that. This is a book that you could really fall in love with. The next one is Wait For You by Jennifer L. Armentrout, or Jaylyn. And this one, it follows Avery and Cameron. Avery is kind of running from something. She just wants to start fresh, and so she goes and attends this new school. Things are going really well, and then she comes home one night and there's a party next door. She sees this guy in the hallway. She thinks that's the end of it. He's just at the party. But then she finds out that he is actually her next door neighbor, and he is the school heartthrob. But he is also really sweet, and he wants to be really good friends with Avery. He wants to go out with her, but she's like, no, we can be friends and that's it. I'm not looking for anything. And he's like, okay, we'll be friends. And so he makes her breakfast. He brings her cookies all the time because he just wants to be close to her, and he is hoping that she'll see him and that she'll want to be with him. Slowly, they become really good friends. They become really close. And then he asks her out again one day. She says yes. And it goes from there. And throughout all of this, again, like I said, Avery is running from something. She's trying to hide from her past a little bit. As the book goes on, it starts to catch up with her a little bit. And so things go from there. Now, like Fix Her Up, I don't remember a ton of this, and my review isn't super fleshed out. But based on what I am seeing here, this is a book that the heavier topics were dealt with really well. Something happens with Avery. That's part of what she's running from. And young Sydney thought that that was done really well. I, again, haven't read this book since 2022. It's November of 2025 right now, so in one ear out the other type of thing. But I remember really loving this book. I've read it twice, and both times I rated it 5 stars, and this is one that I liked even more the second time I read it. It's one where the MMC is just a sweetheart. It's not one of those books where the guy is kind of an asshole and then you see him become better with her. He is just already really wonderful, and you fall in love with him from the first page. And it's just a book where she has been through a lot, and you just see her recover and realize that Cam is safe and that she can go to him, and just starting to become okay after horrible things have happened to her. I don't remember how heavy this one is, but I would recommend checking your trigger warnings. But this is a book that I remember really loving, and so I would definitely check it out. It's been a long time since I've read it, and I think I would like to reread this one again soon, because I think it's one that I would love just as much if I picked it up today. This next book, this transitions us to our MM section of the video, and this is a book that when I think of 5-star reads, this is the book that comes up. If anyone asks me my favorite book and they know that I read more taboo things, this is the book that I recommend. This is the book that I have read countless times, and I will never rate it anything less than 5 stars. And that is For the Fans by Nyla K. This, I think I can confidently say that this is my favorite book of all time. I have never found a book that I have loved so much as this one, and I don't know when I will. As you can tell by all the tabs, I adored this book. So this one follows Kyron and Avi, and they're stepbrothers. But they don't meet until they're older, okay? They're not raised as brothers. But their parents get married, and Avi tries to be friends with him, but Kyron is like, no, screw you. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking outside. It won't stop. I've waited for a while, hoping it will, but it won't. Anyway, this one follows Kyron and Avi. Kyron is really popular. He is blonde. He's the quarterback of the football team. He is just living the life of Kyron, basically. He's loving life. And then enter Avi. He is really chill. He's really relaxed. He's a stoner. And Kyron hates him. Doesn't really say why. Just doesn't even give him a chance. Despises Avi. Avi's like, okay, don't really know who pissed in your cereal, but whatever, right? They live in the same house. They coexist, sometimes violently. And then Kyron is just over the moon because he's going to college and he can finally escape his stepbrother, who he hates so very much. But then Avi declares that he has gotten an art scholarship to the college that Kyron is going to. And so they are now forced together again. And even though they're on opposite sides of the university, because he's there for sports, Avi's there for art, they still see each other and they still hate each other. And then their family loses all of its money and they can no longer afford to pay for college. And Kyron is screwed, and he loves football. It's the only thing in his life that he really loves and cherishes and that helps him just survive. Avi has been doing a little side hustle that his friend is like, you should include Kyron in. This is a really good way for you guys to make money. And so they do a video on Avi's friend's OnlyFans, and it does really, really well. And so Avi is like, look, I hate you, you hate me, but people really love us. So I think that we should keep doing this, and we will make a lot of money, and we'll be able to stay in school. And Kyron reluctantly agrees. And it doesn't mean anything. These feelings that he feels, it's just because they're in intimate positions. Kyron's not gay, but Avi is bisexual, so he's starting to feel some things. And is it real, or is it for the fans? And it is so good. This book was so much more than I expected it to be. It was absolutely incredible, and I cannot speak higher of it. If I read quotes that I highlighted for this book, I start crying because I love it so much. At the beginning, you don't really like Kyron. He is a dick, but you see him go through such an incredible arc, and he became the character that I loved following the most at the end of this book, and I love this couple so much. They just really love each other, and it's steamy, and it is done really well, but their emotional connection is everything. It's so emotional, but it's also so adorable, and you just feel the whole range of emotions. You cry, you laugh, you smile, you just feel everything. And definitely check your triggers for this one. Just to be safe, check your triggers for everything that I recommend, because my memory isn't very good, and I don't want to ever recommend you anything that's going to trigger you if you have them. This is the first book I read, and it made me fall in love with the genre. And it was just everything, and I cannot speak higher of this book, and I cannot recommend it more. It is my favorite book ever, and if you take anything from this video, read this one. It's very easy to fall in love with these two characters, and I would read thousands more pages of this if it was written, and I just have so much love for it, and I hope that if you pick it up, you love it just as much. The next one is Clean Finish by Lily May, and this is the only one that I don't have. And this is book 2, so this transitions us to our next section, which is sequels. I figured it would be a good way to transition because it's but it's also sequels. I think almost every single book in this is an interconnected standalone, and you should be fine, but there is one that is definitely not, so I'll tell you when that is. But this one, it follows Larkin, and in book 1 we meet Holt, and he's the boss of this underground monster wrestling ring, and his assistant is named Larkin, and he's a fae. And Holt's bodyguard, his name is Seb. He is very quiet, he's very brooding, he's really, really lovely, but he doesn't really speak very much. He just does crossword puzzles, and he's just kind of there. Whereas Larkin, he is very outgoing, he's very bubbly, he's very sure of himself, he's very flirty, he flirts constantly with all of the other wrestlers, and for a while he's been flirting with all of the wrestlers, and he thinks it's just for fun, but they start wanting to act on these flirtations, which is fine. But Larkin has zero experience, and he knows that he's been talking a real big game with these wrestlers, and so he needs to get some very quickly. And the only person that he trusts and that he feels is really safe is Seb. And so he asks him, hey, I've been talking a really big game, and I am really scared now. I want to do these things, but I don't know how, and I need somebody that I trust and somebody that is safe to help me learn, and that is you. So will you help me? And Seb says yes, because he has been in love with Larkin the entire time that he's known him, and he will take any chance that he has to be close to him. And it goes from there. This was just everything. I went into this with really high expectations because I really liked Larkin and Seb in book 1, and so I went into this like, okay, I want this to be everything, and it blew my expectations out of the water. This was just the perfect light and fluffy book, and by the end of it, I had fallen so in love with these characters that when the love declaration finally came, I cried. It was so precious, and it was so sweet, and it was so special, and I loved it so much. And I honestly did not have a single complaint of this book. Every second when I was reading it, perfection. I just loved it. It was so light and fluffy, and it was the best reading experience that at this point in the year I had had in months. This was just an absolutely incredible book. This entire series is the perfect light and fluffy series. It has a little bit of depth. It has the perfect amount where you get invested in the characters and you want to see them fall in love and find their happy ever after, but it's not too much that it tears your heart out and it destroys you or anything. And so if you're wanting a light and fluffy book where you just really fall in love with the characters, it's just everything. It's beautiful, it's incredible, and it's so lovely and wholesome, and all the characters are great. It's perfection. I would highly recommend this series. It's really, really good, and this one especially, it was just perfect. and I wouldn't change a thing, and I would highly recommend this one. I'm so sorry if you can hear my family talking. They're in the kitchen right now, and it's not very far from where I am, and I can't soundproof my room at all. And I try to film when everyone's gone, but they just got home. Anyway, the next one is Play Along by Liz Tomforty, and this is book 4 in the Windy City series, and this was my favorite in the series. It was so good, and this one follows Isaiah and Kennedy. I will not take any Isaiah Kennedy slander here. None. Anyway, this one follows Isaiah and Kennedy, and Isaiah plays baseball. He is very fun. He is very just goofy and out there and just sunshine personified. And he meets his physiotherapist one day. They have a little interaction in the bathroom before she realizes who he is. And from that moment, he's just in love with her. He sees her, it's like, yep, that's my wife. We are getting together no matter what. But he notices she has a ring on her finger. And so he just kind of loves her from afar for 3 years. I think it's 3 years. And then one day she comes to work and she's not wearing a ring. So he's like, this is my time to shine. Let me get in there. But she's like, no, I just broke up with my fiance, man. I'm not interested in anything. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Then they see each other in Vegas. And Isaiah's like, hey, you want to get out of here? Let's just go hang out. Let's go walk around. So they do. They walk around. They get very drunk. And then they wake up and they are married. And they had a fun little Vegas wedding. Kennedy is not really allowed to be dating any of the players on the team, so as soon as it's revealed that they got married, she's worried that they're gonna get fired. But also, if they say that they've broken up, she'll also get fired because there will be drama, you know? So they decide, we're gonna tell the team that you're still married, and then that way they can't really fire you because we've been together this whole time in secret, and we've never had any issues, so there's no reason for them to fire you. You're the best physiotherapist we have, so they can't fire you. They just pretend to be what they've been doing this whole time, but then they also have to act married in certain situations, and it goes from there, and this was absolutely incredible. In every single Windy City book, there was a tiny bit of a lull for me in each one. This didn't have that. I picked it up, I read the prologue, and I knew that it was gonna be 5 stars. That's how immediately this hooked me. I was laughing, I was smiling, I was just so giddy. It was everything. It was so incredible. Isaiah is colorblind, right? There's a scene where she's like, oh, what's your favorite color? And he was like, I don't really have one. I'm colorblind. So do you want to pick one for me? And she's like, I think yellow. And he's like, why? He's like, because it represents you. You're like sunshine. And he is. He is the perfect definition of sunshine personified. And Kennedy, she went on such an incredible arc in this book. She's kind of black catty, but she is really, really sweet, and she had like 0 confidence in herself throughout the book, and then you just see her bloom so beautifully with Isaiah, and it was just everything. It was incredible. They were just everything. They had the perfect balance between fun and happy and soft moments, and also just emotional ones where they both kind of like crumbled together, but then they also shined together, and it was just beautiful. And I would recommend the entire Windy City series, but this is the one that I think about the most and that I love the most, and just this one is everything to me, and I would definitely recommend it. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm having no luck with the noise today. I really hope that there will be a bit of a lull and it'll be quiet for a bit. The next one is Heartless by Elsie Silver, and this is book 2 in the Chestnut Springs series. It's, I think, the 2nd series in the Elsie Silver universe, but you can definitely read this one on its own. But this one follows Cade and Willa. Cade is really grumpy. He's not an asshole, but he puts out that persona. He wants you to think that he is, and he is looking for a nanny for his son, Luke, who is really cute, by the way. And he's having no luck finding anybody. And honestly, part of it is that he just scares everybody off. So Summer is like, hey, Willa, my beautiful best friend, you need a job for the summer. You need something to keep you busy. So why don't you come be Cade's nanny? He is so nice. His kid is wonderful. I think you'll have a great time here. So they meet, and he is immediately like, no. She's way too young. She won't take this job seriously. But she hits it off incredibly well with Cade's son. So he's like, shit, I can't hire anybody else. My kid loves her. She's incredible. And then very slowly, Cade starts to love her a little bit as well. And he really does not want her to go home at the end of the summer. This book was incredible. First off, Willa was just a fantastic character. She was so completely and entirely herself. And she loved so fiercely, and she protected those that she loved with everything that she had. There was a scene where a kid is being mean to Luke, and so she pushes them in the pool and is like, screw you, don't fuck with my kid. The dynamic that she had with Luke was so incredible. And speaking of him, he brought so much to the book. There are some books where the kids kind of suck. This is not one of those books. This is a book where the kid brings so much to the book. And then speaking of the kid, speaking of his dad, Cade became such an incredible version of himself with Willa. She just kind of brought him back to life, and they just both together, they realized how deserving of love they were, and they just had a really, really beautiful love story, and they just created such a wonderful family together, and this was just really beautiful to read. Cade already, he was so fulfilled with Luke, but he was just brought to life with Willa, and it was really, really wonderful. And also seeing someone like Willa who is really, really wonderful, but the only thing she doesn't really have is that like stability in her life, and seeing her find that and seeing her find her family with Cade and Luke was really, really precious. And so if you're wanting a book where there is a family dynamic, I would so highly recommend this one. It is so, so good, and the family that they make is so beautiful, and it is a very big part of why I love this book so much. We are still in sequels, but we are moving to darker books now, and this is one that I rated 5 stars because it tore me apart. It made me very, very upset while I was reading it. I was crying constantly. And I would say, out of all the books on this list, check your triggers for this. If you don't, you're an idiot. Like, I'm not softening that at all. You need to check your triggers with this because it is the darkest thing that I have ever read, and it destroyed me after I finished this series. And that is Voracious by Lee Rivers. It is book 2 in the Edge of Darkness series. This is a book that I rated this highly because after reading it, and after how much it tore my heart out, and after how much I felt reading this and all the pain that I was in, I couldn't rate it anything less than 5 stars, but this is a book that I will never reread, and I will not recommend. I can't say that I recommend it because it was so painful, but it's a book and a series and a couple and a family that I love so much. And so if you are willing to be put through pain and fall in love with a couple that goes through so much shit together to the point where your heart breaks, like they take your heart out of your chest, they crush it, they smash it, they tear it to pieces. It's devastating to read, but you fall in love with them. I'm having chest pains thinking about it. It's not even funny. This one, I'm going to talk about Insatiable for this because I can't give you the plot of this one because it all follows the same couple. So this follows Kate and Stacy, and they get together when they're very young. They're head over heels for each other. I'm getting emotional thinking about this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But they get together when they're really young. They fall in love very deeply, but then something happens and they get torn apart. And Stacy is left very heartbroken and in a lot of pain, and Cade is left with a deep hatred for Stacy and the girl that broke his heart. And we don't find out what happens between them for a while, but after a few years, Cade is forced back into Stacy's life, and he plans to make her miserable while he's there, but he cannot stop himself from falling back in love with the girl that he loved all those years ago. So this book, it made me laugh, it made me cry a lot. I'm getting there talking about it now, so I can't spend too long talking about this. I can't spend too long thinking about it. I need to move on to happier things. But the reason that you fall so in love with these characters is that you see them in the present and they're both in so much pain, and then you see their love story unfold in the past chapters, and it is so beautiful. But then you start to find out why they fell apart, and then you see all their happiness in the past, and you see it build up till you get to that heartbreak, and it is devastating to read. You see these people's lives fall apart. It is really, really heartbreaking. It is devastating to read. I cannot emphasize that enough. Do I love this book and this series? Yes, so much, but I cannot recommend it to anybody because I could not live with myself. This is not one that is for the faint of heart. This will tug on every single heartstring you have, and it left me a mess. But I love it very much, and I rated it 5 stars for a reason. But do I recommend this? No, I can't. But I love it very much. So do it that way you will. We are on to the final ones. I have 3 left. This one is Bound by Temptation by Cora Riley. This one is book 4 in the Born in Blood Chronicles series. This one you can read on its own, but it follows a girl that you have seen a lot in the other books because she's the sister of the characters in book 1 and 2. Or maybe it's book 1 and 3. She's the sister of 2 of the other girls. And so you see her a lot in the other books. But this one follows Liliana and Romero. And Lily has been in love with Romero since she met him. And Romero is her sister's bodyguard. And so she meets him. He is over 18. I don't know for sure how old he is, but Lily has been in love with him for that entire time. She's young. She's like 13 or 14. And she flirts with him and he's like, "You're a child. Like, I'll be nice to you, but I'm not going there." And then at one moment, I think she turns 16, she makes a move and he's like, "No, Lily, seriously, you are a child. I cannot go there with you." And so she's left heartbroken. And she doesn't see Romero for a few years. And then the next time they see each other, she's 18. She has grown into a very beautiful woman. And once she sees Romero again, that love and that crush comes back full force. And to make things worse, Lily has just been promised to a very old man in the mafia. And so she is freaking out because she thought that, you know, my sisters have been married to really powerful men. I'll be okay. I don't have to marry anybody for power, like I could marry for love, and I want to marry Romero. But no, she's married to someone who's in their 50s or 60s when she's 18. And so she hopes that the man that she has been in love with all these years can maybe help her get out of this situation, and things go from there. One thing I will say about this book that it did really well is Romero never likes her when she is a child. I feel like there are a lot of times when love interests know each other, when there's a big age gap and they're children, you can still kind of like see that they maybe have some attraction. Romero never saw her that way. So I really liked how that was done, because if he did, that's creepy as hell, but he didn't, thankfully. One thing I really liked about this book is, first off, I felt everything. I laughed, I felt all the feels, I felt all the pain that they were feeling because their situation was really crappy. You could just really feel how much these two loved each other and how much they really cared for each other. And I really liked Lily as a character because she is very mindful of what other people around her want, and she is always putting herself on the back burner and making sure everybody else is okay. And there were times in this book where she was really numb, and I felt that that was written really well, and just how she was feeling was done really well, and just her emotions in general. And then with Romero, he was just a sweetheart. He was just a really, really sweet love interest, and he cared so deeply for Lily, and you could feel that. And this man was willing to go to war for her. If he took her away from her family, war would be started between the families, and he was willing to do that for her because he loved her so much. I think if you are wanting a mafia series that is very long, that you can just really fall in love with, and that you see characters and couples and you see their kids and things like that, I would highly recommend Cora Riley. She has 2 or 3 series that are all connected. So there's the Chicago Mafia, which Lily is a part of, and then there's the New York Mafia, which Romero is a part of, and then there's also the Vegas Mafia, which we see in the Camorra Chronicles series. And then we also get books of their kids down the line. Also, this isn't super heavy from what I can remember. Like, it's still mafia, there's still murder and things like that, and there's still mentions of darker scenes, but it's not as heavy as other mafia series that you could read. So if you're wanting something to kind of dip your toe into the mafia verse, I would definitely recommend this one. It was really good, and it was just a very sweet love story, and I really liked everything about it. So the last 2 that I'm going to talk about is Twisted Emotions and Twisted Bonds by Cora Riley. And this is a part of the Camorra Chronicles series, which is her second series in this universe. And this one is my favorite out of that whole universe. It is really, really good. Bound by Temptation was a 5 stars, but this is a 5-star. You know what I mean? So this one, it follows Nino and Chiara. And Chiara is a part of the New York Mafia. She is cousins with Luca, who is the guy in book 1. And he's like the capo of the New York Mafia, and she's his cousin, but her father was a traitor, and so she has been just kind of discarded her whole life. But Nino, his brother, is the capo of the Las Vegas Mafia, and they forge an alliance with the New York Mafia because they are at war with somebody else, and so they just don't want them interfering with the war. They go to the New York Mafia. They're like, "Hey, let's have an arranged marriage. Yours have worked out so well. We don't want any beef with you. We're at war with somebody else. We just want you to stay out of it, so let's just get married." Okay? Nino is gonna get married. And Nino is a sociopath. He doesn't feel anything. He's like, "Yeah, I'll go get married, whatever, it's fine. It's a logical thing to do. It makes sense." So Luca recommends Chiara because she is still a part of his family, and she is the only one of age. She agrees because she knows that she can't really say no. Like, her capo is asking something of her, and also, with how low her status is currently, she is not gonna get anything better. Like, she would just be married to some, like, 50, 60, 70-year-old, and not Nino. But she's really scared because Nino has a horrific reputation, and he's a very scary man. Nino is especially scary because he doesn't feel anything, and so she thinks that she's just kind of gonna be like his plaything and have a horrific life ahead of her. But then they get married, and he shows her that he actually does have a softer side, and that even though he can't feel and he can't love, he still wants her to be happy, and he does all these little things to make her feel safe in their home, and he wants her to feel welcome, and he wants her to feel like she's a part of their family, and also realize how powerful she really is, and things go from there. And Twisted Bonds is their second book, so it just follows them. We get another book in between these two, and it was just everything and more. It was so good, and this is definitely necessary for them. It wrapped up their story so beautifully, and easily 5 stars. So let's talk about them, okay? These two. Kiara is such an easy character to love because she's been through so much crap in her life, and so she is really skittish, but she's also so warm. And Nino doesn't feel anything, but he is brought back to life with Kiara, and he does so many little things for her, and he also just really pounds it into her that you are a beautiful, strong woman, you are powerful, and you are my wife. Nobody is gonna screw with you anymore. Like, you have all of the power in every single room that you walk into. And then with Kiara, she just balances Nino. He's just walking through life with his emotions turned off, and she just brings that like warmth and gentleness and care and just love back to his life, and it's really beautiful to read these two falling in love. It's absolutely incredible, and I could not speak higher about these two books especially. The whole series is really good, but these two are everything and more. So that is all my 5 stars. Have I had other 5 stars? Yes. But these are the ones that, through the years, I think about, that I remember, that just stand out to me as being absolutely incredible, and books that I will love forever. I hope that you found a book here that you could love. Let me know down below what your 5-star reads are, what your favorite book of all time is. If you've read any of these books, let's gush about them together, because I don't have a lot of people who love all the same books that I do. So whenever I find them, I get really excited. So if you love these two, please comment down below. I want to talk to somebody about these. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you staying till the end if you have, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, my lovelies.